G'day, Starlo here, and welcome to another of my Tuesday chats from the YAK. Brought to you, as always, by the good folks at CM Partners Chartered Accountants, the people I choose for my accounting and tax agent needs. Give them a call and tell them that Starlo sent you, and they'll schedule a totally free consultation to assess your specific needs. Just use the link down below. I'm out for a pedal on another cool midwinter's afternoon, and I've got to tell you, the water is icy cold. I'm not overly optimistic about catching much, but I'll give it a shot. I'm going to troll a deep-diving minnow behind my native watercraft kayak as I pedal along, so that I can chat with you as we go. And today I'm actually going to pop the rod into a holder to free up my hands, much as I usually prefer to hand hold my outfits when I'm trolling. I'll secure the rod and reel with this little safety strap on the Railblazer holder. Better safe than sorry. There we go. You'll notice that I'm just pushing along at a fairly relaxed pace. I'm not going fast, and one of the reasons is I'm actually pushing into the tide here, so the effective speed of the water travelling over the lure is higher than the speed that I'm pedalling at. It's actually getting that current pushing against it as well, so I can see from the rod tip that it's swimming really nicely. That rod tip is just rhythmically pulsing to the action of the lure, and that's what I want to see. And I vary it a bit too. Every now and again I'll just stop pedaling, let the kayak slow, then give it a little bit of a spurt, speed it up again. Just keep mixing it up, because those changes in pace can often trigger a strike. Not working this afternoon though. It's just not happening for me this afternoon. Like I said, the water's really cold. This part of the world, my home patch, really tends to shut down a bit in winter. There's still fishing available. It's a great time of year for big bream. And some years you're catching lots of other things. Tailor, estuary perch is a bycatch. I don't target them at this time of the year. But various other fish. But what I've noticed is that you get a real shutdown late May, early to mid-June, when you get that first really cold weather and the water temperature suddenly drops. We've got a big disparity in water temperature here through the year. I've seen it as warm as 26 to 28 degrees in this estuary, the water, in the middle of summer, and I've seen it as low as 7 or 8 degrees in late winter. That's a big range for the fish to cope with, and I don't think they like it when it first gets suddenly cold in just a week or two. That seems to shut them down. I think I just bumped the bottom. I don't think that was a fish. Yeah, that was the bottom. I'll check that for weed in a second. It's funny, you go further south into Victoria, East Gippsland, and the fish don't seem to mind as much about the cold weather. My theory is it's cold down there all the time. Well, not really, but it's cold for a lot more of the year, and the water temperature tends to be lower, and I just don't think it affects the fish as much. They're more acclimatised to that cold water, whereas here, they're a bit like me. They enjoy the warmth of summer, and then when that first cold snap comes, it just makes them sulky. I can relate. Come on, I just want one 42 centimetre flathead for my dinner. Oh, what's that? Is that a fish? No, surely not. It just loaded up for a second, but I reckon it's the bottom. Wow, I've come in a bit shallower than I thought I was. Oh, yeah, picked up a tiny bit of weed. You know, I'll head out off the drop-off and keep trying. Okay, I've definitely found a bit of deeper water. Time to get the lure back out there and try and catch that flatty that I'm looking for my dinner. I thought what I'd have a chat with you about today are some reflections and observations on the changing nature of fishing on screen through my lifetime, on TV, through videos, DVDs, and of course in more recent times through platforms like YouTube. I wonder what your earliest memories of actually seeing fishing portrayed on screen relate to. Mine go all the way back to the 1960s and being fascinated as a kid by the occasional clip of Bob and Dolly Dyer game fishing that they'd sometimes feature on their very popular BP Pick-a-Box quiz show. Are you old enough to remember that one? Probably not. Later came Ron Calcutt's Benchmark A Fisherman's World series on the ABC. Those shows, shot by superlative cinematographer Ozzie Emery, set a bar that some might argue has never been topped. They were fantastic productions, with unforgettable episodes like the one about spinning for Spaniards and big cobia from the rocks up at Hat Head in northern New South Wales. I was glued to that. Amazing stuff. Around that time, Aussie adventurer and character Malcolm Douglas was also featuring some fishing action in his docos. I'll never forget some footage of Malcolm's from the Kimberley featuring crazy action on GTs, slamming homemade broomstick poppers. In the late 1980s came Go Fish Australia, hosted by actor John Mellion, and that represented my first foray into the world of fishing on screen through my role as the head scriptwriter for the series. I also got to do a couple of brief stints in front of the camera, which were fairly forgettable. In the decades since, we've had Peter Morse's Wild Fish, Rob Sitch and Tommy Gleisner's A River Somewhere, the various iterations of Rex Hunt's shows, Andrew E.T. Eddingshausen, Rob Paxavanos, Paul Worstling, Lee Rayner, Michael Guest, Mark Berg, plus plenty of others that I've no doubt left out, and I apologise for that. Bushy and I even had a crack on our own with Hooked on Adventure, which was a lot of fun. But fishing on TV's changed heaps over the years. Back in its glory days, television networks actually paid production companies to make fishing shows. These days, if you want to get a show on air, you need to pay the networks for the time slot, then make your money from ads and sponsors. I don't think a lot of people realise that. It's a very tough game, and it's also why shows on free-to-air particularly have had to go so hard on the sponsor plugs and product placement. It's the only way they can actually survive, and it's still a grind. So next time you're rolling your eyes and whinging about the blatant hard sell on these shows, just stop to consider that without it, you wouldn't have fishing shows on TV at all. Of course, videos and later DVDs added a different dimension, although they still tended to be very much beholden to sponsors and advertisers for their survival, and that often showed. I've been prompted to think about all of this lately following the recent sad passing of one of Australia's most prolific fishing video producers, a bloke by the name of Doug Fayer. I spent a lot of time travelling and fishing with Doug back in the late 1980s and well into the 1990s. We covered a lot of the country, putting together some quite iconic fishing videos from the era. Things like Tolondo's Fighting Browns that really helped to put Lake Tolondo on the map. And I guess the one that we're most remembered for, Going for Gold, targeting those jumbo yellowfin out around Montague Island and showing the techniques that were required to catch them. We also made episodes about brim fishing in the Gippsland Lakes and game fishing in Tasmania, and we travelled over to Lord Howe Island with magazine publisher Shane Mensforth and lake tackle shop owner Hal Harvey to make a video there too. These were all Doug Fayer productions, and they were pretty popular in their day. I had a lot of fun with Doug. His sense of humour and his enthusiasm for fishing just never waned. And he shot, edited, produced all those shows himself. He was an amazing guy. He had a real passion for telling a story with his camera. But I think his strongest passion was simply for fishing. He absolutely loved it. He was one of those larger-than-life characters that comes along every now and again. I know that he changed my life for the better, and I know that he changed the lives of a lot of people that he came in contact with. I'll miss him. Rest easy, old friend. Doug never really got into the whole YouTube thing, but clearly that's come along now to rival and perhaps ultimately displace free-to-air and pay TV and fill the niche vacated by videos and fishing DVDs, which are largely going the way of books and magazines these days, sinking slowly towards what seems like an inevitable extinction. It does make me a little bit sad in some ways, but I also embrace this new era. YouTube's got a lot going for it, not least being that it's free, at least if you're willing to put up with a few ads. Sure, the quality of content on YouTube can be a bit variable to say the least, but if you look hard enough, there's some great stuff on there. I hope you're enjoying my foray into the brave new world of fishing on screen and that you'll keep following my efforts. It's an incredibly hard way to make a quid, but I'm actually enjoying doing it, and I hope that comes through, whether I'm catching fish or not. Well, I'm still waiting for my flathead, and I might get it before it gets dark or before I get too cold. But that's about it from me for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this Tuesday YAK chat, and I hope you're enjoying the series. Make sure you check back over previous ones and my original Tuesday chats that weren't done from the YAK. I did them in the studio. There's some interesting topics on some of those. I'd love to hear your opinions. I'd also love to hear subjects that you'd like to see me tackle in future Tuesday YAK chats. Just comment down below. Now, I know some of you are listening to this as a podcast. Some of you are watching it as a video. It's available both ways through all the usual streaming services and, of course, on YouTube. And don't forget that it's brought to you by CM Partners Accounting. And please make contact with them, have a chat to them about your accounting needs, and tell them that Starlo sent you. But until next Tuesday, this is Starlo wishing you tight lines.